A bill to defund the National Security Authority in response to revelations about pervasive electronic surveillance program was roundly defeated in the House last night. Despite anger in many sectors of the voting population over the so-called PRISM program, it seems most lawmakers in the House at least strongly believe that any threat to privacy is outweighed by the benefits of tracking down potential terrorists. Siobhan Hughes joins us from Washington with the story. Good morning, Siobhan.
Good morning.
So, Siobhan, it's pretty striking how strong the support was for the NSA's efforts here. How did those congressmen who shot down the measure explain their position?
It was really on the grounds of national security. A lot of the information about the attacks that have been thwarted is classified, but supporters like Mike Rogers, the leadership on both sides said that terrorist attacks have been averted because of this program, and that was the primary issue.
I mean, but it does seem that there is, a significant, there is something of a backlash. Of course, there's also a lot of support in the population for going after terrorists, no doubt. But, is there not some risk that these guys are toying with the voter backlash?
Well, it's worth noting this was a very close vote. The Republican leadership and John Boehner, they barely mustered enough votes to block this amendment from passing. And it's also noteworthy that people like Mike Rogers said he was going to come back and try to address some of the privacy concerns when the intelligence reauthorization comes up. You have lawmakers on both sides now actually weighing legislation that would basically take this data out of the hands of the government and keep it at the phone companies. So this issue is not going away. Congress, a large swath of Congress does hear the public's concerns about privacy, and there's another leg to this to come.
And we have a poll question here that gives us an indication of what the public's position on this is. Let's put that up on the screen. So it says, which worries you more, that the US will not go far enough in monitoring activities and communications of potential terrorists, or go too far and violate citizens' privacy? And there you see it, will go too far gets 56% of the vote. And so clearly people are concerned about government overreach here. And I think one of the things that's interesting in your story is that, of course, this measure was sponsored by what looks like something of a coalition of libertarian Republicans and liberal Democrats. So you're seeing an interesting meeting of the minds across the floor there.
The politics of this are totally scrambled. That's right. You have someone like Justin Amash, who's a very prominent conservative, teaming up with someone like teaming up with people you wouldn't expect to be in his camp, someone like Henry Waxman. You also saw an interesting development with James Sensenbrenner, who's the former House Judiciary Committee chairman who actually wrote the Patriot Act. He came out and said, whoa, the government has gone way too far. I had no idea this is what they were going to try to do. So it's scrambled all over the map.
Well, that's significant. The very fact that this measure was brought before the House, so does that put pressure on the NSA to clean up things, or to at least come clean, or to address some of the kind of secrecy with which this has been approved in the past?
There is enormous pressure on the NSA, and in fact, a lot of details that we probably wouldn't otherwise have had have started leaking out. The NSA is under pressure. It knows it's under pressure. The leadership at the NSA, Keith Alexander, has been very careful to say that the government's open to making some changes. So there's a lot of attention on both sides.
And clearly a story that's not going away. Siobhan, thank you very much for your time this morning.